Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
My father tried to call me a bunch yesterday while I was on air, and I only talked to him for about 30 seconds because I answered the phone right before I went back live, and he's like, hey, there's an Occupy the Fed event at this road and that road today, and I thought he was talking about Austin. He was talking about Dallas. And then he called me a couple times last night and I missed his call, and he called me a couple times this morning, and again, he calls me maybe once a week or every 2 weeks. He's call after call. So I call him back and I go, what's going on? And he goes, well, you didn't cover it. You didn't talk about it. And I said, I didn't talk about what? And I had the article yesterday, and I did read it, and I was aware of it. And I am so blind now because I'm so close to this thing. It's like when you're 1 inch away from the elephant, you know, it's gray skin, it's got black hair, it smells a little bit, but you can't really tell what it is. You got to back off 10 feet and go, that's an elephant. I'm so close to it that when I read things now, the admissions of world government and secret private cities vying for global control, and Lord Blackheath comes out and admits world government in the House of Lords. I see this stuff now every day, at least every week, and I don't cover it because I already know it's true. I've known it's true for 18 years. I've been on air 16 plus. I've been awake for 18 years to a great extent, learning always more, but to the basics, 18 years. And I have got a big blind spot. So please, folks, when you send me emails and say, why aren't you covering this or that? It's because I already know this stuff, just like you already know this stuff. And so I just start thinking everybody knows it. It's like, oh, here's another big article. Globalists fighting with each other over what city-state will rule. Will it be Israel? Will it be the Vatican? Will it be the city of London? Will it be D.C.? They're getting down to the final phase here and fighting with each other. How do the Russians play in? How do the Chinese play into all this? And they're all run by their own mafias that always create their own little city-states, like Moscow and the Politburo, the Duma. And here's John Major, and it's buried in a Daily Mail article. It's in a bunch of other articles, too. In fact, this is the one. I couldn't even find the one I had yesterday and read, where it got into even more of it. I'm going to look for it during a break. But golden chance to win back power from EU. And they talk about the Maastricht Treaty and how it set up the city of London to be its own entity, exempt from EU rules, and how under this new private superstate, getting rid of all sovereignty in Europe, that if England stays signed on to this, they will lose all their power, and the city of London itself will be absorbed into the city of Frankfurt. And, of course, the Treaty of Rome setting up the euro that does have, people always want me to talk about the Vatican this, Vatican that. I try to not get into this religious group, that religious group, try to stay out of all that. But the point is, the institution of the Vatican, the money power of it, that is so wealthy it's untold, was involved, the Vatican brags, at the heart of setting up the euro. That's why it's the Treaty of Rome, signed there in Rome, there at the Vatican, 1957, to set up the euro. So here's John Major. And again, my dad called me right before I went on air again, because I'd been playing phone tag this morning. And this, I said, hey, print me an article about John Major wanting power back from the EU. And I got the Daily Mail. This is not the one I read yesterday. It was like London Guardian or London Telegraph. I forget. I need that ahead of Lord Monckton joining us. So I got Lord Monckton not coming on about carbon taxes to fund the global commissariat and the apparatchiks they've got out pushing it. But specifically on Euro tyranny and the fact that people in UK Independence Party and others have pointed out over 70% of UK laws are EU bureaucratic laws. He found a bunch. Financial Times of London, Fox News, a bunch of other ones with that. So that's coming up. We got some really scary news on Occupy Wall Street. This is degenerating quickly. And our worst fears are now being realized. They're now banning the First Amendment. Here in Austin, they told Darren McBreen's son, get out of here with your dirty Ron Paul sign. That also happened in San Antonio. It's all coming up.
You can bet your life on eFoods Direct. Alex has told you about the amazing, great-tasting, long-term storable food from eFoods Direct and how a food savings account is your best insurance against natural disasters, job loss, and high food costs. But did you know that this dehydrated food also protects you against foodborne contaminants like E. coli and salmonella? Those poisonous critters can't live in low-moisture food from eFoods Direct. Ask for the Alex Fall Special. The Fall Special is a 24-day supply of food in a convenient portable container. A $259 value for only $199. Save $60 on 160 servings of the best food on the planet. Call 800-409-5633 and ask for the Alex Fall Special and go to efoodsdirect.com/Alex. Call 24 hours, 800-409-5633 or efoodsdirect.com/Alex. You can bet your life on eFoods Direct.
Hundreds of nations have fallen to tyranny in the last century alone. This is our last chance to not relive history.
As they're finishing off this agenda, they'll be pulling the rug from underneath Americans at home.
I have tremendous influence on our president and Congress, and they really are calling the shots.
I think it's incumbent upon all of us as American citizens to pay attention.
Fall of the Republic identifies the enemies of our nation, the criminal offshore cartel, hell-bent on destroying sovereignty, and on its ashes constructing world government.
Tim Geithner, Bernanke, they're arsonists. They're asking for more matches. And the Congress is saying, who do we make the check out to?
Today seems like nobody does care. And right now in Washington, D.C., we have seen a fall of the Republic.
Get your copy of Fall of the Republic on DVD at Infowars.com or watch it online right now in super high quality at PrisonPlanet.tv. Hi, folks. This is Alex Jones. I'm looking for people that have the wisdom to spot savings, opportunity, and recognize risk. Saving means to make money. The Cal Ben Pure Soap Company can save you thousands of dollars and give you good old-fashioned real soaps that are triple concentrated and twice as good as what you're using now. Soaps made from vegetable and coconut oils that contain no useless dyes, perfumes, deodorants, or antibacterials. Your risk is the hundreds of hazardous toxic detergents that give you rashes, itching sores, and deteriorating clothing called lint. If you want something better, if you want something you've never had before, you have to do something you've never done before. Getting a free catalog is easy by calling 800-340-7091 or see Calvin on the web at 5starsoap.com. Take charge of your health now by calling 800-340-7091 or see Calvin on the web at 5starsoap.com.
He's the T-Rex of political talk. Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network.
Well, my friends, we have an incredibly jam-packed radio broadcast lined up for you today. You're not going to want to miss any of the information we're going to cover here. Adam Kokesh of Adam vs. the Man radio and TV show will be joining us coming up at the start of the next hour for about 20 minutes. Adam has gotten some amazing video of the Occupy Wall Street calling for collectivism, calling for people that don't agree with them to be arrested in D.C. with the Occupy Wall Street D.C. people. That, of course, was the top main link on Drudge a week and a half ago, the big jumbo Tyrannosaurus Godzilla #1 link on the internet to get that link. A big story. And I got criticized for posting his video, having Paul Watson write an article about it, by the Occupy Wall Street people. They said, that is not indicative of us. We are open and inclusive. We are not authoritarians. We don't agree with Michael Moore, who says capitalism's the problem. You're just trying to make this look like it's Democratic operatives. Well, Adam Kokesh isn't a Democrat or a Republican, and he's well known for that. Same with yours truly. We just cover what we see. And then I sent reporters to different parts of the country, and I did find that the grassroots were upset about the bailouts, upset about the private Federal Reserve, upset about not being able to get jobs, the economy, where we're going. But that there were Democratic Party operatives, MoveOn.org, George Soros people there, and that the unions were trying to take it over, SEIU and others that routinely, go out and beat up Tea Party people. And so all that's going on. But I'm saying, yeah, it's diverse. And then in Dallas at our In the Fed event Friday, about 100 of the Occupy Wall Street across the street from our 400, I was told were bullhorning us, kind of saying some mean things. So I went over and bullhorned back, and then noticed that about half the signs were in the Fed, so it was a bunch of our people over there with them trying to educate them, and then they came over and were somewhat friendly. The same thing happened a little bit in Houston, but then I said, look, I'm your friend, and so they came over and joined us, and I said, go down to their encampment at the park down the street, and it was all a great deal. Now, I get to San Antonio. I'm going to get into the story more in a moment. I always start trying to mention who's coming up today, and then I start just getting into the news right away. And Matt Medina, the head of We Are Change down there, great activist, friends with him for years, and others. Some of the We Are Change folks had called me earlier in the week. So had Medina, and they said, well, no, most of these people are taking Ron Paul and InfoWars stickers and are aware of the Fed and want to march with us to the Fed, and they're good. There are some move-on people trying to stir stuff up, but they're not running things. So overall, this has not been taken over. Well, he showed up Sunday, and the video's up at prisonplanet.tv, and we also posted this morning at Infowars.com, and he said they came in and they said, you don't talk to Medina, no Ron Paul stickers, we're not against the Fed, just like Michael Moore said, oh, no, the Fed, it's good. The problem is capitalism, anybody having property, except, of course, for people worth hundreds of millions like Michael Moore. And then now there's a new video out from Kokesh, and we've got him coming on, as I said, here in about 50 minutes from now. A new video, and our headline on it is Occupy Agitators Attempt to Ban First Amendment. And I would actually, that's a good headline Watson gave, but I would just say Occupy organizers. Because they play this mind game of, we're not in charge, but we are in charge. So all of that is happening and going on. And now there is video of the Occupy agitators attempt to ban the First Amendment in this supposed public meeting that everybody's invited to for this grand collective where they steer it the way they want, but they're telling them, you're not allowed to videotape in here, though other people can videotape. And it gets worse. Darren McBreen, our reporter, and I've met his son. His son's a senior in high school. He went down to the Occupy Wall Street event yesterday here in Austin, and he had a Ron Paul sign. And they came over to him and said, that's not welcome here. Get it out of here. But they could have their SEIU union signs. They could have their tax the rich signs. They could have their Democratic talking points. In Manhattan, they're marching to Republican billionaires' houses, the Koch brothers and other people like Rupert Murdoch. I mean, you can see this is now a Democrat agenda. You don't bring your Ron Paul here. You don't march on the Fed. You don't have in the Fed signs here. You understand? No, don't come to our group and try to get them to come out to your march Sunday or to come out to protest the Fed. We like the Federal Reserve. And they have these little whisper campaigns, and they're leading it. They send in professional agitators, and they say, we're all here. We're not going to be co-opted. MoveOn.org loves you. Obama loves you. And they play this mind game. So the only information now allowed in Occupy Wall Street is if you want to have a yoga event and not chant. That's what happened in Austin. I'm not knocking folks that do yoga. Certainly good for you. My point is that's what they did. And they come up and they say, don't have Ron Paul here. And I'm getting these reports all over the country, from Denver, you name it, that you don't bring Ron Paul here. Do you understand us? We're for freedom. You want to call for communism, you want to call for collectivism, you want to call for taxing the rich, you want to call for some blanket Wall Street's evil. That's wonderful. But you don't actually talk about the global kingpins that are caught laundering the money and that have gotten tens of trillions in bailout money and that want to implode our society, the private Federal Reserve. And I've had calls from all over the country, and I've had reporters where the Occupy Wall Street people that, quote, are leading things but aren't, will say at every event, no, even when they're sometimes marched by the Fed,